got boxes of them. I helped Fresno PD solve 3 murders because of my connections at the prison. But yeah, I'm sorry. Do you have a question?
Yes, my little grandson is really into superheroes, so I can't wait to tell him what a natural high it is to meet one. And being a senior citizen, it's very hard to admit that justice doesn't always triumph. And I wanted to ask you about being a book lover and cold cases. Will you ever solve the murder of the lady Marilyn that owned the bookstall in Fresno?
No, they know who did it. They just don't have the evidence. Yeah, they know who killed her. I know who killed her too.
Well, what was the motive? Was it
rage? And there was a falling out there, and money, do things, but
you know, it was every human life, loss of life is heartbreaking, but that lady was a really neat lady, and I could call her from where I worked and say, I've got some patrons in here in the library and they would like a certain book. They want to buy a copy, and she knew her shelves, she knew everything. And she would go and she would retrieve that and come back with the phone. I could send the people up from where I live, and they would get the book, and they would bring it back in to show me this hardback copy of it. So she was a super neat lady.
Yeah, terrible. It was terrible.
I hope someday justice does triumph.
Well, sooner or later, the good Lord willing, it'll happen. Because they know who did it. Trust me. You just need that break. And there's no statute of limitations on murder, by the way. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 questions. The first one, when you were doing your narcotics whatever you're undercover, do you have to sample all the stuff so you know what's going on? So
You mean use it? No, it was against not only law, it was against my sheriff's policy in those years for me to use any drugs on the job. We didn't do it. And we always come up with excuses. It was hard to do. Some agents have done it at the federal level. When they go deep cover, I was undercover. It's a difference. The undercover agent is one thing. Deep cover agent is something else. A deep cover agent is one of them. He just lives there for years. And it's a whole different ballgame. But a lot of narcotic agents get in serious trouble that way. They get caught up in it. But I never used it, and I'd have been fired.
And my next question was, in all your years of enforcement and detective work and whatnot, have you ever been injured?
Oh, yeah. You mean injured in law enforcement? By the private eye?
Yeah, well, gunshots or anything.
Yeah. My partner and I kicked the door in one time, and the guy in the corner spun around. And I'll tell you the story. I got to be careful because I'll be here all night to tie you up. I don't want to do that. One story I want to tell you before I leave them. I'll tell you this story. So Norman and I get this call. It's from our informant, Barbara. Barbara's a little black gal. She just accused of bugs here, but she's a reliable informant. And she said, hey, Sarge. I said, what? She said, I know where there's some narcotics. I said, you do? He says, I said, where? So over here at the corner of such and such, they got all kinds of narcotics in there. I said, what kind of narcotics do they have? She said, well, they got heroin, and they got this, and they got that. Man, it sounded like a narcotic officer's dream, right? I said, who's in there? She said, oh, some men. And 2 or 3 men. We got a couple broads. That's the way they talk. Okay. So we go over there, and we're going to do a kick. This is, this is before a lot of court decisions, and you do a knock and notice and kick the door in those years. So as we're approaching the door, I saw the window thing go back and then shut real fast. The Supreme Court called that furtive conduct. That gave us the entry availability to go on in. So I pulled out the trusty 45, and Norm was behind me as usual. And I go up and I kick the door in. And if you kick a door at a certain place, we were experts at where to kick it, the door